Hello, all humans and non-humans. Welcome to a new type of video. It's been a while since I've done a video game video. Just a lot of stuff's going on. But anyways, I ended up getting this book while I was buying a book for a friend. And it was as a recommendation for those of us who have monster attraction proclivities. And she said Basilisk, and I said sure, why not? Didn't read the back, didn't read synopsis, nothing. And I started a little bit of it, and it's a ride. It's definitely a ride that I want to share. I don't want to suffer alone. I need to read this with somebody else. So, I was thinking, why not? Why not read this out loud for friends, families, loved ones, and all of the above, and have them suffer along with me. So, I'm going to try and keep the intro short because I don't really care for it. This is basically one of my reading corners. So I also was thinking about the kind of portrait mode rather than the other one. Anyways, I've also taken my pre-bedtime gummy, just to make this even a little bit more fun. The kitties are settling down in for a nap. The weather is lovely outside. I've got a lovely candle to make it feel homey. Going. Just got nice and clean, feeling like a clean jellyfish. Great. Fresh shave. For a second there, I was like, oh my god, I messed up. Fresh shave, feeling good, feeling fresh, feeling clean. Gonna do some light reading before bed. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe 1 or 2 chapters. We'll see. I don't want to keep it long. But yeah, I need friends to go along this journey with me. So, no further ado, the book that we shall be reading today is backwards. I forgot that YouTube mirrors everything. Well, I wonder. Anyways, it's Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Straube. Straube? I think isn't this a German last name? And as far as I know, Straube. I swear, there's a buggo. There are certain types of ears with buggos. Anyways, Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Straube. This is the cover, front cover, spine of the book, back cover. She a hefty bitch. She's hefty. I was like, oh my, alright. Again, at first I was just like, yes, lots of beautiful monster romance, and then I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to get through this. So it has 515 pages, and it was published last year. It is from a group called A Split or Swallow Novel, which confuses my ADHD because I would think it should say a spit or swallow novel, but I don't know. Synopsis, which my friend and I reacted to this amazingly. Tem couldn't imagine a stranger duo, the formidable Basilisk and the human prince. Which I've already started reading some of this, and I was like, wait, he's not a human. He's supposed to be a basilisk prince. Anyways, keep that in mind. Okay. Tem couldn't imagine a stranger duo, the formidable basilisk and the human prince, both powerful in their own right, but they couldn't be more different from each other. Cool. 20-year-old Temperance Virus has never been kissed. Alright, we already start. Our female protagonist's name is Temperance Virus. Cool TikTok name. But that's what the Basilisk is for. Which, by the way, if I get a penny for every time this book says that's what the Basilisk is for. Along with the 13 other contestants, Tem must train with a basilisk to learn the power of seduction and win the prince's hand in marriage. When Tem is matched with Caspin, the Serpent King, she realizes she might actually stand a chance. But with tensions rising between the basilisks and the humans, Tem is suddenly torn in two directions. As her bond with Caspin deepens, so does her connection with the prince. When she uncovers a terrible secret about the royal family, Tem finds herself caught between two worlds, neither of which she can survive without. Bum bum bum! I don't do a lot of reading out loud. My accent comes out quite often. So this will be interesting. This might be extremely boring. I picked a special, really old book marker that I've had from, do you guys remember the Scholastic book fairs? So it's Garfield, and it says, "You're only young once, but you can be immature forever." Which, hilariously enough, I got this like as a middle schooler, like as a tween, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be immature forever." Look at me being 33 years old and being like, "Yeah, still don't feel like an adult." This used to be 39 cents. 39. I don't even know if it's. There you go. 39 cents. Eggs are like $10 now. Okie dokie. I'm stalling. Mostly because I don't know how this is gonna go, but we'll see. Alright. Excuse me. So, I'm also gonna do a lot of maneuvering, and also my testicles will be doing a lot of maneuvering. Listen, I want to be comfy. I don't care. Maybe I can start an OnlyFans. Because of the Basilisk by Lindsay Straube. Bloom Books. Oh my god, I forgot some of these. Alright, this is going to be real reactions. This book is for anyone who has ever wanted more. I want more out of my books. About this book. I'm told it's best to go into this book with absolutely no knowledge of its contents. As such, you'll find no blurb or summary here, except in the back of the book. Instead, I will leave you with some sincere advice. Buckle up. The Split or Swallow series is unlike anything you've ever read before, and you may not read anything like it ever again. Say goodbye to the person you were before this book, and once you've read it, hand it to your friend so they can read it too. So this book is going to be groundbreaking, life-changing. Say goodbye to the person you were before. Going into this, I was just like, are you serious? Like, the eye roll. How conceited. I'm like, listen, I am going to tear this book a new butthole. Like, I'm not. I hope y'all like watching me be judgmental, because we let me bring out my gavel. All right, part 1 with a little chicken. I do appreciate the chicken. All right, part 1, chapter 1. You'll never guess what happened to me last night, Vera whispered. Tem sighed. She had come to the bakery to deliver eggs and had gotten gossip instead. It was always the way with Vera. What happened? She asked. Vera leaned over the counter so only Tem could hear. Jonathan took me under the bridge. Tem's mouth fell open. Everyone knew what happened when a boy took you under the bridge. Are you serious? Mind you, everybody knows what happens when a boy takes you under the bridge. Aren't we 20? Do we still refer to our partners as like boys and girls? Like, at 20. I was like middle school, elementary school, like, especially when we're talking about that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm just like 20. I don't know. Y'all told me. All right. Are you serious? Yeah, Vera smirked. I saw his. She glanced over her shoulders, then back at Tem. Cock. Tem blushed at the word. Because, by the way, Tem's a virgin. At 20 years old. Never been kissed. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm done. Alright. Tem blushed at the words. You've never seen one? Giggled Vera, tossing her blonde curls over her shoulder in haughty satisfaction. No, Tem muttered. Vera knew quite well that she had never seen one, at least not in person. There were plenty depicted on the marble statues that lined the steps leading up to the church. But those were nothing to write home about. Well, how would she know if she's never seen one? How can you compare? They look like baby carrots. Don't ruin vegetables for me. What was it like? Vera leaned in, pursing her lips in a conspiratorial triangle. It was firm. I can't believe I'm reading these out loud. Oh my god. See, I could have an OnlyFans. Anyways. Just OnlyFans of reading books. Like, that's, there we go. Okay. Vera leaned, oh my Jesus Christ, I told you my fucking accent. I'm sorry, and I'm not editing this because I'm not putting any effort or time into it. Okay. I'm gonna have only time for one chapter. This is how this goes. Alright, anyways. Vera leaned in, pursing her lips in a conspiratorial triangle. It was firm, she whispered, like a cucumber, but warm, and it fit perfectly in my hand. You held it? Vera laughed. Tem resisted the urge to hurl an egg at her. You don't just hold it. You play with it. You stroke it up and down. This is the most unsexy. Vera moved her hand to mimic the motion, and Tem memorized it instantly. What's the motion again? Until he finishes. Vera giggled cruelly at the look on Tem's face. Oh, Tem, she whispered, her condescending tone unbearable. Don't worry. You'll learn tomorrow night. That's what the Basilisk is for. Ding! Everyone knew what the Basilisk was for. Ding! Of course, Vera continued, it doesn't hurt to have an advantage. After all, the prince is going to pick the most skillful girl. Again, boys and girls. I intend to get as much practice as possible. Only Tem knew the painful truth, which was that there was no one she could practice with. The boys her age didn't talk to her, and if they did, it was only to inquire whether her mother's farm had any spare roosters available. Gabriel was her only friend, and he wasn't interested in girls at all. Token gay best friend. But it didn't matter anyway. Tem had always known she wouldn't have a chance with the prince, regardless of what the Basilisk taught her. The prince was far more likely to choose an experienced girl like Vera to be his wife. It was as if Vera knew what Tem was thinking, because she said, You can always practice at home. Tem looked up. How? Touch yourself. If you know how to do that, you can better understand how to touch somebody else. For once, Tem felt a small surge of victory. She had already touched herself plenty of times in the privacy of her own room. She'd done it for as long as she could remember. And she knew exactly how to bring herself pleasure. This woman has never been kissed before. She's never seen a penis before. She blushes at the sound at the word cock, And she's like, nah, but I'm an expert in masturbation. Even though, by the way, so far, the little bit that I've read, they've never mentioned the word masturbation. They keep just referring to touching herself. And I'm like, it's so weird. Like, I don't know what it... Like, if you're going to be sex positive, or if you're going to be, like, sexy and sexual, go all the way. Like, don't sanitize it. No, sanitize isn't the right word. Don't infantilize it. Don't, like, use euphemisms. Like, just, well, I guess it's just weird to have something like the word cock, like, compared to, like, cucumbers and baby carrots, in comparison to, like, rather than being, like, you know, masturbate or finger yourself, they use, like, touch yourself constantly, which for me is just like, anyways. Oh my god, I'm, like, sending this video to one person and that's it, everybody. She'll never see the light of day. Okay. She had already touched herself plenty of times in the privacy of her own home. She'd done it for as long as she could remember, and she knew exactly how to bring herself pleasure. Those solitary moments were important to her. They made her feel sexual and alive. She loved the euphoric weakness she felt after her orgasm, and she wondered if men felt a similar way when they finished. That's weird. It's like she's never talked to a dude in her life before. Like, seriously? Or just... I'll try that tonight, Tem said, keeping her secret to herself. Her superiority disappeared immediately. Here comes the accent. Her superiority disappeared immediately at Vera's next words. Of course, I was so pleased when Jonathan returned the favor. Tem's jaw dropped. He touched you too? Vera smiled widely, eager to perform for her audience. He didn't just touch me. He tasted me. Alright, go on. Tem frowned. I don't understand. Vera laughed, the sound cutting Tem to her core. You wouldn't, would you? You've never even been kissed. When I read this the first time, oh Jesus, gummies kicking in. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. All right, when I read this the first time, I was just like, are they friends? They don't sound like friends. Tem's embarrassment only deepened. If Vera wasn't referring to kissing, she must mean the other, more intimate act. The one Tem had only ever imagined and never expected to experience. Blush rose once again on her cheeks, dovetailing perfectly with her shame. What was it like? Tem asked, despite herself. She loathed giving Vera a platform, but desperately needed to know the answer. Oh, Tem, Vera giggled again. You'll find out eventually. She paused, and her mouth twisted cruelly. Or maybe you won't. After all, who would want a girl who tastes like chicken shit? What kind of fucking insult? The insult was too great for Tem to hear. It hit her right in her insecurities, confirming every dark, horrible thing she had ever thought about herself. That she was nothing but a farm girl, that she was dirty and unlovable, that no man would ever look at her the way she dearly wished to be looked at. She's 20. It took enormous effort to keep those thoughts at bay, and just when she'd managed to do so, girls like Vera reinforced them. Tem had had enough of this stupid conversation. Do you want these or not? She brandished the carton of eggs in her arm. Yeah, Vera sighed, and clearly disappointed they were no longer talking about her. One moment, she grabbed the eggs and flounced away. Flounced away. Tem used the time to gather herself. She felt ridiculous and pathetic every time she let Vera get the best of her. But it was impossible not to feel inferior when she'd never even kissed a boy. She would never be like Vera with her silky... I forgot about the description. Alright. But it was impossible not to feel inferior when she'd never even kissed a boy. She would never be like Vera with her silky pink ribbons dangled teasingly in front of the boys in the market. She would always be the girl who tasted like chicken shit. I'm like picturing this like Vera walking around with like pink pigtails, and I'm just like, ew. Again, they're 20. Like, why? Ugh. But also, how do you just? How do you know what tastes like chicken shit? And just, oh yeah, oh yeah. Again, they're supposed to be 20, but they sound like fucking 15-year-olds. When Vera returned with Tem's payment, she sneered one last time. Get some rest, Tem. You're going to need it. On the walk home, Tem allowed herself to cry. She took the roundabout way through the woods so nobody would see her tears, walking along the edge of the wall that encircled the entire village. 12 feet tall and made of wood, the wall looked nondescript from the middle, but on the outside it was sheathed in mirrors. Centuries ago, when humans had arrived on this part of the world, they hadn't known that the basilisks were already there. White colonists! Sorry, I had to. The monsters weren't a problem at first. Dude, y'all came to their fucking territory. Like, y'all's the problem, not them. The monsters weren't a problem at first when they wore their human forms. They looked just like humans. Attractive humans. Oh no, I just realized the like implications of all of that. Like I said, it's like they're settling in the basilisk's place, and now they're like, what are they for? Oh, they're sexy. Like, look at them. They're not an issue because they're hot. I hate it. Alright. The monsters weren't a problem at first when they wore their human forms. They looked just like humans. Attractive humans. Their sexual influence was undeniable, and it was the main reason the villagers were able to coexist with them for so long. What did I say? They're like, oh my god, the only reason why they're okay is because they're hot and we want to fuck them. Ah, that's so fucked up. That's messed up, bro. But when they wore their true form, when they turned into huge, ruthless snakes, they became a threat because they're no longer. The resulting war was bloody. Why? You had a war. I can't. It wasn't a war. It was like, y'all fucking colonized. Y'all, they didn't ask you to come there. You came there. I don't know why. And then you were like, oh, you know, it's just. Whew. We're gonna get so far. We're gonna get so far. The resulting war was bloody. The basilisks had magic that the villagers couldn't defend themselves against. That is, until they learned that the basilisks had weaknesses. The crowing of a rooster, the smell of a weasel. That's a very weird sentence. That is, until they learned that the basilisk had weaknesses, the crowing of a rooster, the smell of a weasel, period. It wasn't until a snake dropped dead after looking at itself in a puddle of water that the villagers realized they were also a threat to themselves. They'd won the war with mirrored shields. In exchange for the territory outside the wall, the basilisks agreed to use their seductive talents to train the prince's future wife to ensure she would bear him an heir. Who's the prince? Again, okay, so is it a human prince or is it a basilisk prince? And like, what? Like, y'all came to our land, killed us, like, killed some of us because there's a war, decided to take a piece of our land, and as like recompense, as like a, oh, well, you know, this is like the peacemaking treaty. We let you train one of us to fuck a prince. What? Also, what? So this is a monarchy? Like, I just no. A tentative truce was formed, and the two groups had lived in relative peace ever since. See, I'm not gonna be able to get through this book. This is so deep. A tentative truce was formed, and the two groups have lived in relative peace ever since. The small cottage Tem shared with her mother. Also, where are we? Where in the world are we? What time period? Like, I know it's a fantasy, but like I want to be grounded in the setting. I need setting with my porn, okay? The small cottage Tem shared with her mother was nestled on the edge of the forest, and Tem felt a wave of warmth when she saw it. It had always been home to her, no matter what awaited her outside its walls. Her mother looked up from the kitchen table when she walked in. "How did it go at the bakery, my dear?" "Terrible," Tem said. "With the eggs or with Vera?" "With Vera." "I told you to ignore that girl." "Mom, she's like a gnat. Gnats are hard to ignore." Tem's mother sighed, wiping her hands on her apron. "You must learn to shut out the noise, Tem." "Like you do?" It was a low blow, and Tem knew it. Her mother was the only person more affected by the town gossip than Tem was. Raising a child on her own in a village that revered fatherhood and idolized male heirs hadn't been easy. All right, so we're in a patriarchal society. Cool. And she's a single mom. Add to that her occupation as a chicken farmer, Add to that her occupation as a chicken farmer and Tem's mother was a pariah. Why? Why is being a chicken farmer so bad? Like, everybody loves chicken. And especially if, like, people are buying eggs. What the fuck? Tem's mother was a pariah, which made Tem the daughter of one. "I'm sorry, Mother," Tem said preemptively. Her mother pursed her lips, clearly suppressing her hurt. "Think nothing of it, my dear. I know you're nervous for tomorrow." Nervous didn't even begin to cover it. Before she could put her foot in her mouth again, Tem retreated to her bedroom. It was her sanctuary in more ways than one. Every time the world seemed too large, she knew she could end the day alone in her bed. Sounds like a teenager. Tem hung her cloak in her wardrobe before lying down and staring blankly at the ceiling. She felt endlessly tired, like the weight of the entire world was on her shoulders. Woe is me. I'm being such an ass. And it might as well have been. If she didn't do well tomorrow, she would let her mother down. They were humble farmers, chicken farmers, and people like Vera looked down on them. They had nothing. If Tem were to win the prince's hand in marriage, their entire reputation could change. It's so superficial. It's so superficial. Tem wanted nothing more than to make her mother proud, which entailed getting as far along in the training process as possible. She stood no chance of winning, but if she could make it past the first elimination round at least, maybe even the second, Cora willing. Oh God, yeah. The whole Cora, we're guessing it's a god because, God willing, Cora willing, but is there any explanation so far? None. I've read like maybe 2 chapters of this, and then I was like, I'm deciding I'm reading this out loud and not suffering alone because I will chuck this book and set it on fire. So, alright. She stood no chance of winning, but if she could make it past the first elimination round at least, maybe even the second, Cora willing, then maybe her mother would forgive her when the prince didn't choose her. There were matches available for girls who ranked highly in the training but didn't marry the prince. She could marry a duke or a lord of some sort, but even if the prince was impressed with her, an impossibility, she wouldn't have a true chance with him unless she was one of the final 3 girls. Those 3 girls would sleep with the prince, showing off everything they'd learned during the training. The prince would choose his wife after that. This really is like they took the plot of a porn and wrote it, because like, what the fuck? Like, it's The Bachelor, except he has to sleep with the last 3 women and choose who's the best lay. And my friend brought up that wait, so she has to make her mom proud by being good in bed? Yeah, and I was like, oh, yeah, no. Tem rolled onto her side with a sigh. She stared at the palm of her hands, which were sprinkled with freckles. That that whole thing, I was like, who? I am freckly. I'm freckly and I have a bunch of moles. Who's got freckles on their hands? Like, nobody. Like, even my ginger friends, like, maybe on top, but, like, the palms, I've never, am I being too judgmental? Are there whole groups of people out there that have freckles on the palms of their hands and I'm over here being, like, horrific? Like, what? But that's just weird. No, I don't care that it's a fantasy. Like, no. Okay. She stared at the palm of her hands, which were sprinkled with freckles. All right, freak. The tiny dots of... I forgot. The tiny dots of pigment trailed from the end of one palm to the other, forming a pattern across his skin, not unlike a constellation. She's the chosen one with the constellation on her hand. How beautiful. You hold the star in your hands, her mother had always said, rubbing Tem's fingers between hers, just like your father. The chosen one. This, All right. But when Tem had asked to know more, her mother had grown quiet, and Tem had learned quickly not to dig any deeper. She knew, oh my god, if I find out that her father is actually like one of the princess, and she's actually like a princess, or if she's we about to find out that she's like half basilisk, half human, a princess of some sort. Like, it's all of the special token things. She knew her father was a sore subject. Her mother had left him before she was born, and that was the extent of her knowledge. Tem had often wondered what he could have done to make her mother leave, especially given how difficult it was to run the farm without a man shouldering some of the burden. But it was useless to wonder, and Tem didn't care to know anyway. It wouldn't change the way villagers whispered about them, or the way Vera looked at her like she was some disgusting bug she needed to squash. Things were never to be fair for them. Tem had accepted that long ago. The only thing that mattered was what would happen in the caves tomorrow. Vera's words replayed in her mind. Get some rest, Tem. You're going to need it. Tem closed her eyes. By the time she woke, it was dinner time. Her mother was at the stove tending a pot of stew. Tem pulled a loaf of bread from the cupboard and had barely began to slice it when there was a knock on the door. Tem knew from the sound of it, 5 short, sharp braps, that it was Gabriel. Her mother's head popped up from the pot. Don't let that infernal boy in. Oh, she's homophobic. No, just kidding. No, I'm just being extra. Tem rolled her eyes. The last time Gabriel came in, he'd accidentally knocked over the drying rack, shattering several of her mother's favorite serving plates. Tem had spent hours trying to glue the ceramic back together to no avail. Gabriel couldn't help it. His limbs moved almost at their own accord, with utter disregard for inanimate objects, or people, for that matter. I won't, Tem said, already gathering her cloak. She'd forgotten Gabriel had wanted to drink tonight, and now that she had remembered, it sounded like the best thing in the world. So see, okay, you're old enough to drink, but you're not old enough to act like it? Like, why you be acting like a 15 to 17-year-old, but you're over here, like, going to party out with your boy? Like, I don't... And don't stay out too late, her mother insisted. I won't. And I won't. Tem placed her hands on her mother's shoulder. Her mother looked up at her. Tomorrow's important, Tem. I just want you to make an impression. I know. And I will. I want you to make a good impression. I will. Again, acting like a 15, 17-year-old. Like, you're acting like a teenager. Her mother didn't look convinced. Tem wasn't really convinced either. Brat, 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 brat. Oh, my cat looked at me like, what the fuck? Tem glanced at the door. I have to go. I'll be back early, I promise. She pressed a quick kiss to her mother's temple before throwing on her cloak and opening the door. There stood Gabriel, all 6 chaotic feet of him. Because he looks like a Picasso painting. He doesn't. It's just, what does 6 chaotic feet mean? He wore a long leather jacket. This is a trench coat, kid! He wore a long leather jacket, his caramel hair slightly tousled from the walkover. Leather? Tem asked. Really? You said you weren't going to try to take someone home tonight? He's a twink! He's a twink! He's a leather baby! I'm always trying to take someone home. Sorry, I have to. Gabriel stuck his head through the doorframe to give Tem's mother a jaunty wave. Hello, Mrs. Virus. You're looking lovely this evening. Tem's mother gave him a scalding glare. Gabriel was unfazed. What's cooking? Smells delicious, he crooned. We'll be back soon, Tem said hurriedly, pushing Gabriel onto the porch. He threw his arm around her as he stepped into the garden. Your mother doesn't seem to like me anymore. You terrorized her serving platters. The woman holds a grudge. Pah! Gabriel flicked his fingers as if that was of no concern to him. Give me a week. I'll be back in her good graces. Knowing Gabriel, he would be. But enough about me. His arm tightened around her. Can you smell that, Tem? Smell what? He made an exaggerated show of sniffing at the air. That is the smell of your virginity disappearing into the wind. You? Fuck. What does non-virgin pussy smell like? She shoved him as hard as she could, but with little effect. Apparently he's a 6-foot chaotic 300-pound, Mustang. Are you sure we shouldn't be trying to get you laid tonight? He continued without missing a beat. It wouldn't hurt to get some practice before tomorrow. With who? Tem asked bitterly. I'm sure we can find a lively bartender who would delight in your company. The only bartender at the Horseman is old Steve. You want me to fuck old Steve? No! But I'm sure old Steve wouldn't mind fucking a pretty young little thing. She smacked his arm. Why don't you fuck old Steve? Gabriel gasped dramatically. Please, Tem. I have standards. You see why I have to do the voice? Not that I can see. Bit feisty tonight, are we? She smacked him again, and this time he threw his hands up in surrender. Fine. Neither of us will fuck old Steve. His loss. I, on the other hand, he grasped the lapels of his leather jacket, snapping it down smartly against his shoulder, am on a mission to get the stable boy to notice me. Tem frowned. From what I saw last night, Henry already noticed you. No, not Henry. Peter. What's wrong with Henry? Nothing. He's been commissioned for a travel assignment. He'll be gone for the next 2 weeks. What travel assignment? He's helping ferry people in for the eliminations. It was customary for the prince's extended family to congregate for the duration of the training. Those with a high enough ranking would stay in the castle, while the rest would infiltrate the village's inn. It was notoriously fruitful time for the village economy. Even the homeliest bed and breakfast would experience a boost from the uptick in wealthy patrons. You seriously can't go 2 weeks without kissing a stable boy? Tem said. Gabriel laughed. I could, but why would I want to? She had no answer to that. By the time they got to the Horseman, Tem was aching for a drink. The bar was busier than usual, which wasn't a surprise. The entire village was on edge, anticipating the events of the next several weeks. Beers, Gabriel said. You're buying. Anything for you, dearest. Tem slid into their usual booth and looked around the room. There was Vera, sequestered in a corner with Jonathan. She was sitting aggressively close to him, practically on his lap, with her breasts pushed together. 2 tables over, a group of small girls... No! 2 tables over was a group of girls talking excitedly. Jesus Lord, I'm sorry. Tem recognized them. They wouldn't be going through the training with her. She wondered... What? Oh, right. They do explain who are the girls that do the training later. Okay. She wondered if they were as nervous as she was. If the way they were laughing was any indication. She doubted it. Wait, what? 2 tables over, a group of girls talked excitedly. Tem recognized them. They would be going through the training with her. Oh. She wondered if they were as nervous as her. All right, there. That makes more sense. Sorry about that. See, this is where editing would be helpful, but, like, that's too much work. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. By the time Gabriel returned with the beers, Tem's stomach had worked itself into a fiddly knot. "To Cora," Gabriel said, raising his glass to hers. It was the traditional toast. This book would have done so well with editing. "To Cora." Tem downed half her beer in one gulp. Half? Jesus, woman. Are they like tiny beers? Like, Jesus, in one go, like, like, what? Gabriel raised an eyebrow. Thirsty? And apparently bottomless? Very. He followed her gaze to Jonathan and Vera, who were kissing each other like it was their last night alive. He raised an eyebrow. Don't they know they're in public? True love waits for no one, Tem said bitterly. Gabriel snorted. That's not true love. That's an unplanned pregnancy waiting to happen. I'm sorry to all my queers. Tem had to laugh at that. She doubted Vera was stupid enough to not take in the infertility herb. The whole, like, just because we're in a fantasy setting, we're going to, like, use herbs and magics and potions. Like, broski, just say a contraceptive. Like, just be, like, enough to take a contraceptive. Or look for an herb that is a contraceptive. Like, you don't have to, like, an infertility herb because it's magical and potion. Just, no, you... Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Sometimes the hair. All right, anyway. Tem had to laugh at that. She doubted Vera was stupid enough not to take the infertility herb, considering how much sex she had on a weekly basis. Slut. All the girls took it, including Tem, although it wouldn't matter during the training. It wasn't possible